Good afternoon, everybody. Maxime Bernier is tweeting, and it's been a few days since I did a Bernier tweet roundup, so here we go. One, he says, quote, "My interview on CBC Power and Politics yesterday. See how the host keeps questioning the fact that Trudeau gave his support to the establishment of a world parliament in 2010, as if I had invented it, when it just takes a few clicks to confirm it." He carries on. Number two, "That's a typical manipulation trick by journalists. Quote, so now you're saying that in 2010 the PM expressed support at Vassy Kapelos. Can't you just do your research before your interviews? Yes, he did. You're a journalist. You should stick to facts." And she responds to him, "It is comical how different these tweets are than Mr. Bernier in person. I wonder why he didn't say this when the interview ended and instead said how much he liked doing the show. Which is it?" And Bernier responds via tweet, "It's both, actually. Now, why don't you answer? Why did you keep questioning a simple fact as if I had invented it when it's easy to confirm on the UNPA website? Why the manipulation?" And this is a link to the previous tweet I just read out as a response from Miss Kapelos. I think that's how you say her name. I could be horribly mistaken, and if I am, I apologize, madam. Maxime Bernier carries on. "Let me help you with your research at Vassy Kapelos. When we discussed the migration compact, you replied, quote, but that's not legally binding. Now, the UNPA aims to create a, quote, world parliament, which may be able to adopt universally binding regulations." And there's a link. Number two, it's in this article. Quote, "As a member of Parliament, the newly elected Prime Minister Justin Trudeau signed the appeal for UNPA in July 2010. You can also find it elsewhere in this organization's website in the list of supporters in each country." And there's a list there. And this is a story I covered a few days ago, and Bill Tufts tweeted out and got me seeing it. So I'm glad that people are talking about this. This is important. Okay, back to Mr. Bernier. Number three, "This means Trudeau signed an appeal in 2010 to make Canada's parliament subservient to a world parliament that could impose binding regulations on us. Why are you contesting that fact at Vassy Kapelos? You are a journalist. It's your job to check facts." Number four, "Seems to be a pattern at the CBC. Rosie Barton insinuating that I deliberately tweet on the anniversary of a violent demonstration in the US. Wendy Mesley insinuating that I got money from the Koch brothers. And now Vassy Kapelos insinuating that I invent stuff about Justin Trudeau." Number five, "Do CBC journalists get their interview techniques from watching Kathy Newman with Jordan Peterson? So you were saying ... or so you're saying ... So that's interesting. And I don't know if this is over. The replies are interesting to read. I haven't seen a response from Ms. Kapelos yet. But Bernier raises some interesting points. The fact that Justin Trudeau did sign this document, it is factual, and you can back it up. Why do we have a CBC journalist casting doubt on that fact? That's something to pay attention to, right? That $600 million, almost $1 billion that Justin Trudeau has earmarked for the media is really paying off for that favorable press, right? Casting doubt onto Bernier's statements during an interview gets a lot more views than my Twitter roundup, right? Although I'm working on it. On to Don Martin. Don Martin says, "This tweet poses a very good question." And yes, this is still a Maxime Bernier tweet roundup, and I'll show you why we get to it here. He asks as well, but we're going to look at all of this, right? So this tweet poses a very good question, and the tweet is Ryan O'Connor. And he says, "So LeadNow.ca, which has accepted foreign funding in the past and ran a third-party campaigns against Conservative MPs in the 2015 election, got funding from the Trudeau government despite being incredibly well-financed. Why is the government funding third parties?" Okay, so I did a whole video on this, and if you don't know who LeadNow is, I'm going to show you what LeadNow is just in like the next 10 seconds. But I want you to see that here's the invoice, and it says at the top here, it says LeadNow Society. In the first blue writing at the top, it says LeadNow Society, right? And if you skip down, it says in-house organization name LeadNow Society. And then you can go down to the bottom, the very bottom of the document, and it says Employment and Social Development Canada, $8,433 funding expected in current financial year. Yes, so they funded this organization. So LeadNow is this is LeadNow.ca, and they're protesting the Kinder Morgan pipeline, right? So the Trudeau government, not only are they funding protesters of pipelines, I mean, pretty wild that a sitting government would be funding protesters of something that they have a vested interest in getting done. I mean, Alberta's in a very, very rough way. And not only that, there are news articles, and I did a video about this in November, and the link is in the description, but there are news articles saying that this foreign agency, well, accepted this agency that is supposedly Canadian, but it's like, what's the word? AstroTurfed. It's not real Canadian. Like, they're real Canadians who started this, but they're funded by Tides, right? Tides Foundation. And so, if you don't know, here's Brian Lilly talking briefly about LeadNow. He says, quote, LeadNow was set up in British Columbia in 2010 or 2011 by a pair of young Canadians with the full support of a Tides Foundation-backed group that sought to organize for left-wing causes. In 2015 federal election, LeadNow targeted 29 ridings held by Conservatives and took credit for dumping the Tories from 25 of them. Now this group, which runs the shadow campaign to get their preferred candidate elected, is working for the Ontario election, and now they did get funding from the Liberals. So Don Martin's asking about it. Now you know who they are, and if you're interested in the video I did, it goes into how Tides is related, etc. The link is in the description, and yeah, that's just more information about who LeadNow is. And Maxime Bernier is retweeting this. He says, indeed, at Don Martin CTV, very good question. Let me ask it in all caps, since that seems to be the only way to attract the attention of some of your colleagues. Why is the Liberal government funding a group of left-wing activists trying to block pipeline construction in Canada? Yes, why? And similar question, if foreign monies were coming into Canada to target Liberal MPs, you better believe there'd be some kind of legal action, right? At this point in time, like, I don't know if there's a Russia investigation or whatever looking into this, but I would highly doubt it. I'm going to look into it to see if there is, but I would expect not. So Maxime Bernier seems to be picking up things that are resonating with people, at least on Twitter, and holding journalists accountable. I've seen remixes of him saying that he fights people who bring fake news. When he announced his party, he scolded one of the media people, and I don't have the clip offhand, and I've got to go pick up my daughter. But he said, I'll fight people who bring fake news, and it's a great clip. And well, I'm gonna go see if I can find it. Nope, I couldn't find it, but it'll be up at CanadaPoly.com. Come and check it out. Join the forums, join the conversation, and thanks for watching. Check out the People's Party of Canada.ca, and maybe you might want to vote for Maxime Bernier and his People's Party to run Canada, because what Justin Trudeau is doing is awful. Thanks for watching, everybody.